Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hey, it's Storyworthy. Today on the show, comedian Dana Gould talks about meeting Piggy Demon.
In 1994, when Tim Burton made the film Ed Wood, in which Vampira is depicted, I met someone that knew her. Her name is Maila Nurmi, and she lived in a little house off of Melrose on Houston. And I wanted to interview her I wanted to do a documentary about horror movie hosts, because I thought actually that is the one job for which I'm actually qualified. Everything else I've just been kind of sneaking around, waiting to get discovered. And I wrote her a letter, and our mutual friend Carol gave it to her, and she responded, and I said I wanted to interview you on the show, and it's a documentary, and we became very good friends.
Today on the show, comedian Dana Gould tells a fabulous story about meeting Piggy Demon. Stay close.
This is Huell Hauser, and you're listening to Storyworthy.
Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show of over 13 years or you're a brand new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the show last week with author Marian Keyes. Marian Keyes is a famous author. If you don't know her, fair enough. Maybe you're not into... It's kind of like YA, really. But then again, a lot of people read Marian Keyes, and she's also very, very clever on Twitter. Anyway, last week she told a really funny story about going to a costume party in London dressed as a Joan. Yes, think Joan Rivers, Joan of Arc, a Joan. And anyway, things went terribly wrong, and it's super funny, and Marian Keyes is a wonderful lady, and I hope you listen to it. But not today, you guys. Stick with me now. It is Halloween, and so I thought I'd bring back a fabulous story from comedian Dana Gould about meeting Piggy Demon, who you're going to find all about when you listen to this episode. The bottom line is Dana Gould is a fabulous storyteller, comedian, and he's just done a lot of work. What a great guy. I know you guys are going to enjoy this show. And don't forget to check out My Life in 3 Songs. That's my other podcast over there on Spotify. I talk to major comedians about the 3 songs in their life that have impacted them. I've been trying to get Dana Gould on that show. And now that I'm putting him on the air again, this is a good reason to let him know that he needs to come on My Life in 3 Songs. Anyway, you guys, it's a great show, and I'm really proud of it. So head over to mylifein3songs.com to hear more. And then, of course, you can join my mailing list, which is a great way to keep in touch. And you can do that at storyworthypodcast.com. All right, you guys, without further ado, here is the fantastic comedian, Dana Gould.
When I was a kid growing up in Hopedale, Massachusetts, the one thing that I loved more than anything was horror movies. I was passionate about them. All my friends, when they were kids, wanted to be Carly Ostremski or Bobby Orr. I wanted to be the Wolfman. It actually spoke to my deep shame and guilt, which is what the Wolfman is all about. You wake up in the morning with dirty, bloody clothes, and you did something the night before that you can't remember. I can relate. Then I got older, and I became a comedian, and I discovered the beautiful horror movie comedy hybrid that is Plan 9 from Outer Space. And Plan 9 from Outer Space quickly rocketed to the top of my favorite movie list. If you have never seen it, I could describe it only to you as a bukkake of euphoria. The most compelling character in Plan 9 from Outer Space, note I did not say the funniest, that I would reserve for either Tor Johnson who has the most lines in the movie and yet speaks English the worst of any of the actors in the movie, or Dudley Manlove, who has the great line, you see, your stupid minds, stupid. But the character that I really was obsessed with was Vampira. She was certainly my feminine ideal. And I just found her very fascinating. My mother would reference Vampira when I was a kid, and I never knew what she was talking about. So as I became more interested in it, I did some research, and I learned all these things. That Vampira was actually the very first person to host horror movies. And she started in Los Angeles in 1954. And the show was a local show, but it gained national attention. Within 2 months of her appearing on, I believe, KCET, she was in Life magazine, Time magazine, Newsweek magazine. She was a national phenomena, became best friends with James Dean, and was quite the overnight sensation. The show ran for 2 years, and the stardom that she thought she was going to embrace never actually happened. In 1994, when Tim Burton made the film Ed Wood, in which Vampira is depicted, I met someone that knew her. Her name is Maila Nurmi, and she lived in a little house off of Melrose on Houston. And I wanted to interview her I wanted to do a documentary about horror movie hosts, because I thought actually that is the one job for which I'm actually qualified. Everything else I've just been kind of sneaking around, waiting to get discovered. Waiting to get discovered that I'm a phony. But hosting horror movies I could do. So she didn't have a telephone, and I wrote her a letter, and our mutual friend Carol, gave it to her, and she responded, and I said I wanted to interview you on the show, and it's a documentary, and I gave her an honorarium, which I think is what got her out of the house. I interviewed her. You can see that interview on my website, on the video page, danagould.com, or on YouTube. And we became very... I wrote her a thank you letter. She wrote me back. Again, she didn't have a phone. I wrote her back. I took her to lunch, took her to another lunch, and we became very, very, very good friends. She was really funny. She was really dark. She would say things like, everyone thinks of Orson Welles as the cinematic genius, but to me, he'll always be the guy that gave me the clap on a USO tour in 1943. Really funny, really great. And over the years... she had no children. She was divorced in 1954. And her sort of social support group fell away. And I slowly became the word I would look for. I helped her out throughout the rest of her life. As I became an adult, I got married. When I met Maila, I was just a single guy working, and then I met my girlfriend, who became my wife, or as I like to call her, my ex-girlfriend. We had kids. I got my job in The Simpsons, and then I was like a real adult. Had a job, had a wife and kids, and a mortgage, and I was like a real grown-up. And one day I got a letter from Maila that said, I'm being, my house where I live is being gentrified, and I'm being evicted, and I need to move. And which meant that I was going to do it. Unfortunately, at that time, the one luxury I didn't have was time. I had a baby and a date and a full-time job. But obviously I needed to help my friend. So I went to this store in North Hollywood called Halloween Town. I'm not kidding. I love that. I really love that. I'm glad it's there. When I get stressed out, I go there and I just look at stuff and touch it. It soothes me. And at Halloween Town, they sell Vampira t-shirts. So I walked up to the register and I pointed to the Vampira t-shirt and I said, do you know anybody that I could pay to help me help the woman on that shirt find an apartment? And they said, yes, without flinching, as if my coming was predicted in their ancient texts. So they said, you really should meet my friends Matt and Gabby. They love Vampira. So I knew the woman that owned the store. So set up a meeting, and I go to this little diner where I'm going to meet these people, and in comes a young guy who looks like a young Alice Cooper, covered in tats, dyed black hair, you know, the whole goth rock look that Maila sort of patented. And his girlfriend, who was a very beautiful young lady, who looked like a beautiful young lady going to a Halloween party as a young Alice Cooper. And Matt and Gab sat down and they talked about how much, they loved Maila. And I said, sort of told them my story. And together, Matt and Gabby, my personal goth army, we set out to find her a place to live, which was not easy when you were looking for a ground floor apartment for a woman in her late 70s on a fixed income with a dog and a cat who needs to live within 2 to 3 blocks of a supermarket that doesn't require her to cross a street with more than 2 lanes. Yeah. And we really pounded the pavement. And they did an amazing job, and we found her a beautiful bungalow, one of the few remaining bungalow courts in Hollywood. And we found her a bungalow court. And as we were helping her move, we kept finding money that she had forgotten she had stashed away. So at the end of the day, we're moving her into this bungalow. We found like $2,000 that she didn't know she had. And I'm standing in her bungalow and she's moving in and she's literally close to weeping. She's so overwhelmed and happy. And I'm looking out the window and I just think, this was good. This was a good day. This was a good thing. And literally, as I'm thinking that, I hear, ow, 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 ow. And I turn around to see that Maila's dog had bitten Gabby on the breast. So the day ended at Cedars with what I'd never seen before was a weird pump that they used to remove dog saliva from a puncture wound on your boob. But I stayed friends with Matt and Gab, and over the years, Matt was a musician, and at the time, he was in a band called Wednesday 13, and we would have lunch, and we just were friends. We loved horror movies. We had our friend in common, and then he became the bassist for Rob Zombie's band, and he had the professional name of Piggy Demon, and once he got into Rob's band, that really came to the fore, and he became kind of famous. And that's why I am, to this day, proud to say I am very good friends with Piggy Demon.
Isn't that a great story? I knew you would like that. It's very Halloweenish, etc. I hope you guys are safe wherever you are. I know the world is a very strange place right now, but let's try to get through it together. If we can survive a pandemic, come on, you guys, we can get through this. All right, you guys, thanks again for listening to Storyworthy. I really appreciate each and every listener. And on behalf of the very talented Dana Gould, my name is Christine Blackburn, saying, make it a story-worthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy Podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.